A belief is when our thoughts and our feelings line up. Think about a limiting belief you have right now. What is it? I'm not attractive. And the feeling is you feel down, you feel shame, embarrassment. I'm not smart. I'm not thin enough. Whatever it may be, I don't make enough money. Do you notice when you think about that limiting belief that the feeling is very negative? It matches with the negative thought. Now, try and change it. Say to yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, I'm sexy, I'm rich, I'm whatever it may be. Do you notice? The feeling hasn't changed. You don't feel rich, you don't feel powerful, you don't feel thin. That's at the heart of every limiting belief. And this is why personal development programs never work. What do all of them teach you? That we need to change the way we think about ourselves. And you just proved it. I can tell you to think whatever you want, but until you change the feeling, until you gain emotional mastery, you will never conquer your limiting belief. Well, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to overcome your limiting beliefs so that you have the power to change these thoughts and feelings incredibly quickly in just a few simple steps. Now, let's get into why this happens. Well, the first thing to recognize is how the brain and body works. Every piece of information we ever take in, whether we see it, smell it, touch it, or taste it, we have an emotional reaction first. It actually comes through a couple of emotional parts of our brain. I'll stay away from all the technical terms, but it hits those emotional centers first, and it's checking for any previous life experiences so it can categorize what it felt, what it emotionally experienced in those events, in those situations. It does that before it ever gets to cognition. That's in part why changing your thoughts will never change your limiting beliefs. You have to shift the way you feel. And what did you just discover about how the brain works? Its first thing that it's doing is it's looking back at all of your past emotional experiences. Well, if you have limiting beliefs, if you don't feel attractive, if you don't feel smart, if you don't feel capable, that's because in the past you got sent the message, you're not capable, you're not smart. You are replaying those feelings, and so when you go to cognition and you try to change the thought, you can't. That feeling is more powerful. We become what we feel, not what we think. If you still don't believe me, spend the whole day telling yourself how great you are. And notice every time you say it, how you'll get angry and frustrated and you know you're in denial. Like you're turning away from yourself because it's not true. The feeling is that I'm none of these things. Right? Until we learn how to shift that feeling, we can never shift the thought, and therefore we can never change the action. We cannot conquer the limiting belief. So now that you know the process of what's happening inside of you, that there's nothing you can do about it, it's an automatic process that your brain instantly goes back through its previous emotional experiences. Now we're going to get to the solution. How do you change those previous emotional experiences so that your feelings can line up with the thought? All right? Well, the first step is this. Go to my website, www.thegreatnessuniversity.com. Right at the top, it says free content. Go down and you'll see a feelings wheel. Print it off. Keep that feelings wheel with you. Now, over the next 3 to 5 days, start tracking your feelings. What are you feeling? 3 to 5 times a day. Check in on that feelings wheel. What am I feeling? Sad, angry, doesn't matter, whatever it is, happy. Start getting in touch with what you're feeling. Step number 2 is to ask yourself, where in my body am I feeling this? Every single feeling. See, we store those traumatic emotional memories of us not being good enough, sexy enough, kind enough, smart enough, whatever it is, the messages that were sent to us as a child, we store those physically in our body. So check in. Where do I feel this feeling in my body? That's the second step. Do that for a day or so. Now, step number 3 is to ask yourself, what's my first memory of having this feeling? Now, for most people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they're going to remember, the first thing they'll remember is something within 1 to 5 years. Great, write it down. Then ask yourself, what's my next memory before that? Write that one down. Keep going all the way back. You're going to see you've been repeating this limiting belief, this limiting feeling for decades. And eventually you're going to arrive at an original moment in childhood when you experienced this hurt, this pain, this emotional event that has caused you to create a limiting belief that you are stuck in, that you are replaying. It has left you defeated and frustrated and feeling like you are in a rut that you will never get out of and you can never conquer, even though you've bought every single personal development program, you've read all the books and everything, and nothing changes because they keep trying to tell you to change the way you think. Now you found the source of it, this moment. Now you may not remember the exactly what happened, but you'll remember an age, 3 years old, 5 years old. This is where my first memory of this feeling starting. That's good enough. You have just found the original event where your parents, it's almost always your parents, your caregivers, taught you to have these feelings of less than perfect, of no worth. That's where all of our perfect imperfections come from, is childhood. And so now you know this is what I need, this is the feeling I need to conquer. All right, now the rest of the process is too long to put in a video. So I encourage you, go back to my website, www.thegreatnessuniversity.com. And on that exact same free content page, you'll see another free download, 10 simple steps to heal emotional pain. Download that. It walks you through the complete process to heal and shift that emotional pain. And basically what you're going to learn to do is to take that hurtful moment, that emotional moment that has left you defeated and frustrated and stuck for all of these decades, that was your parents' pain or brother's pain or coach's pain or pastor's pain. That was somebody else's pain that was dumped into you, and you've been carrying it for decades, and you're going to learn how to give it back to them. And that's when you learn to let go of that pain, and then you say, I am worthy, I am strong, I am powerful. You'll learn to separate. You'll be able to create the appropriate feeling that's authentic. You can't do it now because their pain, you're carrying their pain. And it's blocking you from seeing yourself authentically. And that's why you have limiting belief. Remember, we become what we feel, not what we think. And this whole process will walk you through exactly how to discover that and exactly how to turn it around. It'll change your life. If you think this will help yourself, please like it. If you think it'll help other people, please share it. And as always, enjoy the journey.